Yo, Lost Sons podcast. We're here. We're going to talk about ourselves and we're going to crack some beers. I'm already one beer deep. Let's get into this, bro.
Let's go. Let's have a little chit chat.
Quarantine times. What's you been? Immediately, my internet connection is unstable. So what you been doing? What you been doing to keep busy?
At this point now, the only thing that in my mind right now that's I have to do and to that is productive is working on the YouTube channel. I mean, it's not like it's a whole lot of amazing content or anything like that, but I'm learning a whole lot right now through the process, so that's pretty fun. Got a bunch of videos out, got a bunch on the deck right now, so I'm excited for that. Lots of cool stuff. It's just trying to stay busy, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but it's been pretty rough trying to keep yourself motivated and stuff like that too. So it's kind of been nice knowing that that's something I can do here at home and still be productive, and I don't have to do it every single day. I can take a day or two off now since we're not doing too much, and do a video this day, make sure I spend an hour or two shooting it, spend a half hour to an hour doing my edit, and then upload it and everything, and repeat the cycle a little bit down the road.
Yeah, dude, and as long as each video is getting better than the last one, man, then you're laughing. At the end of the day, it's really because you're just building up a wall of content for one day somebody to meet you and be like, oh yeah, you have a YouTube channel, let me check it out, and then you're like, bam, all this stuff.
Here it is.
Yeah. So.
And it's funny too, because like the first video I was telling you about, I was like, oh, I have so many different things to do transition with and stuff, and it is you were like, I don't even hardly use any transitions, a lot of hard cuts. And the last video I did, I think I maybe did one transition throughout the whole thing, kind of, and it was the same amount of cuts, but I was just like, I was content with not having them because I was like, oh, certain shots don't really need them and stuff like that. There were certain things where I was like, if it's on the shot and I'm doing the same shot but it's a slightly different little thing, it's not so bad to do a slight transition to the different angle that might be like the same shot but from a different take or something like that, right? That I did freehand or some crap. So it's been cool. It's been cool learning, and lots of stuff that I'm trying to keep in mind from all the shoots that I was around that you did and stuff like that. So it's been good. It's even stuff like this, even perfect example, setting up the home little setup and stuff like that, right? I wouldn't be able to do this caliber of shot that I have here now if it wasn't for you giving me the photography light to do it from that side, and learning the stuff like that throughout the shots to know to put the backlight in the background to give me a little bit of something back there and to give a different cool texture lighting as well too, right? So there's lots of, when you're doing stuff, there's lots of different things to incorporate, so learning lots along the way and trying to pick up tips from everyone.
Yeah, man, I totally forgot to put my backlight even on, but who cares?
No, I see one on.
I see one on. The blue one's on, but I don't have my backlight. Here, actually, that's a good transition to get me up and doing it.
There you go. Up, throws on the back, and it'll show you the difference too in the shot right away, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, if I can do my amateur breakdown, you'll see around the edges of Alex now, he'll have a little extra border, if you will. It's not like it's going to be like a white or a black border, but it's highlighting the frame of his body and stuff like that, to give him a little more definition and to separate him from the background shot. Would that be an accurate breakdown there?
Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you one thing is missing, and I wish I could get that a little further back, but I can't. And it's when you see my nose. I really don't like that, and unfortunately, there's not much I can do.
The dark shadow there?
No, the brightness. So it goes really bright on my nose. I'm pretty sure you can see it. Yeah,
that exposure. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're seeing is the worst image ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the time they see it, it's going to be nice, crispy 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should we give people a little bit of breakdown of what our setups here at home?
Yeah, sure. How we're doing this? Yeah. For sure,
why don't you go ahead, break them down for you?
Okay. Well, just what camera I'm using and stuff, or do you want to see the lights and all that?
Well, even how we're just recording this, because we're both we're in a Zoom call that's separate from everything else that we're recording. So both of us are separately recording audio onto a different microphone than what we're using for the Zoom call. We're both using a different video than what we're using for the Zoom call. So for Alex, you're using your laptop, right? And then you're using your high-tech camera.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm using an older shitty phone, and I'm using my newer phone to record the video for me. And then both of us are recording into different microphones into our interfaces into the computers.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, mine's on a recorder. I don't have an interface with me here, but it works pretty much the same way.
Right into the Zoom recorder.
Yeah, the Zoom recorder. And then what I do is just sync all of that in post.
Exactly. So he's going to take my video file, eliminate the audio there. He's going to take my audio file that I've recorded, sync that up with the video, and then boom, he's got his stem for my side of stuff. So now for other people, you can do a simple thing of record the Zoom call just like Alex is doing as well. So you have a main thing to render, to use, to reference from, or you could go ahead and, use that as your main thing. It all depends on how much quality you want to get out of it and stuff like that, and what you really have available. We're a little bit spoiled, and we've got a lot of stuff available, and we've got the know-how now to be able to pull this off. Most people don't have all that technology and stuff available to them, and it's as simple as going straight into your phone and putting in a headset and stuff like that. So there's lots of options out there for anybody else that is trying to do something similar from home because they have the time. I had a friend hit me up the other day, and he was asking about some stuff and the kind of setup that we use for the podcast, and he asked what kind of interface and all that stuff you use, and I'm like, actually we just do it off the Zoom because it's a simpler thing. We just need the audio, and so if we're running two XLRs right into the Zoom, we're using Beta 58s for that stuff, so we don't have to worry about any phantom power or anything like that anyway. So that's a super simplistic way of doing it for us, and to then just incorporate the video after. So there's lots of ways for people to be able to accomplish the end goal here, which is just getting yourself recorded in a good enough quality that you feel comfortable putting it out.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always going to be really simple tips. Like for microphones, get them as close to your face as like humanly possible. Once you do that, you're going to have a way better, like no matter the quality of the mic, it's always going to be better the closest it is to your face. So you can have an amazing mic that's like 6 feet away that will sound like garbage compared to a crappy mic really close to you. I mean, given that it's still like, it isn't like a broken mic, right?
And you're not overdoing your input so that you're peaking the entire time that you're speaking as well.
Exactly.
That was one thing. Even tonight I was watching American Idol, and I noticed that all the singers sounded fantastic, and then they're doing their interviews and everything was peaking when they were talking and stuff, and I was like, why, how did that transition so bad from them singing to them talking and stuff like that? So it was very weird for me hearing it from the audio. I don't know, so much embarrassing because it's people at home, just, you know what I mean, you doing what they're doing with the capabilities that they have individually. So it was just something that I was like, oh, that's a simple thing that, I didn't think would be an issue. But simple stuff that you just got to keep in mind when you're doing things at home. It's fun.
And just keeping the room quiet. Like if you want better audio, keep the room quiet. And then you can there's tons. And then for video too, if you want to get a better looking image, like you can use a phone, whatever, that's good. Just like stick to like one light source and just have that one light source be the only thing that's illuminating you. Like if it's like a nice bright sunny day and you can get close to a window, just get close to that window and shut the light off in your room.
Half of the videos I'm shooting these days are done specifically during the day, sometime between 12 and 5 o'clock. So I don't have to do any lighting. I just set up in the room and it takes care of it. And thankfully the camera's good enough too, where I can even sometimes shoot it into 7 o'clock and it still picks up a significant amount more light than I expect it to. So it's been very surprising, the capabilities of these newer phones and the kind of cameras they have on them.
Yeah, man. And I think it's really important, being in a band or a musician, like doing that content, like just posting stuff that sells you as like a human being and stuff. And like, man, we'll be talking about that a lot more, I find, is just because that's like a consistent problem that you see a lot, right? Is
not giving that interaction with people. Yeah. Yeah, especially times like this, because like something as simple as if you have fans of your music, you know, maybe you don't post a whole guitar playthrough, but you sit there in front of your live rig or in front of your little home setup, and maybe you play a minute of a song that you really enjoy playing. And hey, I miss playing this tune. You know, who's stoked on when we can get back out and doing it? So there's lots of options to do and stuff like that.
Yeah, honestly, man. Now's the best time, and like I've been seeing artists go up on like Instagram Live and getting other people to come in and doing like rappers and stuff been doing that stuff. And I know if you're like just starting out, you don't have that many followers, you don't have that many people interacting. I get it. Like live can sometimes be tricky, right? Like I know if we were to do live streams and stuff, it doesn't always bring a lot of people in, but it is like, you know, those options are there, and you can bring that kind of stuff into the picture if you just keep posting yourself doing it and just being like, you know, anybody want to be brought on. And then you can start off with even just reaching out to other people and being like, hey, you want to just do like a rap cipher or like a guitar solo battle or something. And then, yeah. And you just like, you know, collaborate, right? And just collaborate online. And, you know, there's just a potential to build like a bigger thing than what everybody's doing now. So
yeah, and not only that, but doing it earlier on, and it doesn't matter if you get the views. Just doing it earlier on gives you the opportunity to practice and to get better at it. Your first stream's going to suck. Your second stream's going to be better. The third stream you might have it down pat, and then you're rolling, right?
Yeah. Bro,
just like now when we did our last podcast like this, we didn't quite have it set up, or at least on my side, I didn't quite have it set up this way. You know what I mean? I was using the natural lighting. I didn't have to do the backlight and stuff, and I wasn't using two phones. So we get better every time.
Yeah, and I mean the problem with this in quarantine is like I know it's gonna be way tougher on you, because it's like, before it was as simple as you just came here with your brain and you just spat some knowledge, and then I just like, you know, I had the whole camera, like all the rigs and everything going, and you had nothing to worry about. Yeah, you had nothing to worry about. You were a hired actor. Now you are like a producer. You are part of the whole production team. So I really like the quarantine thing it's kind of forced you into that role a little bit, which is, I think it's good in a way, because if we hadn't had started it back then, and then like even just a couple weeks before the quarantine, if we hadn't had started it, then you would probably come to this point and just be like, oh, well, maybe we'll start it after this stuff, like, you know, slows down.
Yeah, we would never go to the idea of trying to go through this like podcast side of stuff. This kind of interaction.
Yeah. But it's good.
Very much. And it also opens my eyes to of what I really need to get by if I want to do this long term as well, right? Like it took me, I didn't think that we were going to do one tonight, and then you were like, yo, I'll be ready soon. And I was like, fuck, I got to set a lot of shit up to get ready. You know what I mean? I literally, because I don't have the appropriate setup, I had to take out the preamp. I had to take out my interface. I had to hook up the computer to my TV because the screen's broken. I had to set up a light. So it was just like, all right. No, but that's, you know, at some point when we were going to do it, it had to be done. So yeah, the setup was going to be now, or the setup was going to be tomorrow. So
yeah, man. And it's always the same. It's like the setup is like the grueling part, and you just don't want to set it up and like have to do that. But the talking, the being able to just like express yourself and just be out there and like open and honest and stuff, it's really important, you know. And once you get rolling on it, for me, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm just like, this is great. I'm happy to just be able to just talk my shit all day, right? Yeah, it's fun.
And you get a lot more comfortable with it, and you find a bit of a skeleton, or you're a little bit of a cookie cutter thing, how you're going to do stuff throughout the day. Like the video shoots now are so much easier for me. I think I edited a video in less than 15 minutes the other day. And like,
whoa, 15. That's crazy.
I was granted it was like a 3-minute video, but I was like, I didn't think I was going to get it done that fast. So I was like, as I was going through and I finished it and I started like rendering, I was like, oh, I figured I would start this, I'd go have dinner, I'd come back, I'd finish it, I'd render it. It would be, you know, an hour and a half ordeal, but it was like, I started rendering and then I went and had dinner and I came back and it was done. So I was like, perfect.
Nice.
This was literally just like a half hour to 45 minutes total. So it was cool. It's, getting the shots down is such a big thing, right? Getting those simple shots, deleting a lot of the crap footage has been very key for me too. Not having to sift through it afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you plan out your stuff, like, yeah, for me, this is taking a real turn. It's not about music so much this time. But
well,
I think,
but this is what we're going through, right? Trying to express ourselves, just like you said, and be honest and be true to who you are and express yourself. This is the avenue that we have to do it now. Mm-hmm. Granted, the stuff that we're talking about, the content is music, but the avenue to get it there isn't music. It's right. Videography.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. And it's like, I like to think of it as more of like storytelling, and even more than that. But yeah, you're right. You're right in terms of like, yeah, you got to learn a little bit about how a camera works and all that stuff to, you know, be able to get this shit down. Yeah, man, I think it really should, like, every band or musician should be putting out some sort of content, and video content is the best, most engaging way to display yourself and to engage with fans. And I don't think many musicians would get the most out of like if they learned photography as a secondary skill. I don't think they'd get nearly as many, or even graphic design or something like that. They wouldn't get nearly as much interaction and as much pull from being, from being like being a videographer, or like, you know,
they wouldn't get the return back kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
and because video content is just it's key right now, and it doesn't even have to be that good, as long as you're coming out with really interesting stories. Mm-hmm. And telling them through video is probably the easiest format, because you're just documenting what's going on in your life, in your career, in your business, in your art, all that stuff. So and I think getting better at it is an important part of it, and I think it's just natural to it as well, because like I don't know, there will be a moment when you're like, fuck it, these phones are they're not giving me what I want. I'm going to drop a couple grand on a camera, or like a grand on a camera or something like that. One day you're just going to have to say that. And then you're going to go looking for the content of like how to shoot with the DSLR and make better content, make stuff looking good and all that. Yeah. Like, it's just inevitable, man. I went through it. You're going to go through it. It's just that simple. So
that's the way it goes.
So
the
right,
only reason I'm working off a camera right now is because the quality has gotten to a point of where maybe DSLRs or whatever it was, maybe 10, 15 years ago, that's where they were at, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah. And I mean that, like, I personally think that you can get by literally making content on just a phone. And if you started now, by the time your channel blew up, phones would be great still, and you would still be able to make content.
Yeah.
Really, like, when it comes to needing a camera, it's like only if you're talking about cameras and filmmaking and that kind of thing. Because really, like,
if you're getting super nitpicky about it, yeah. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people are just using GoPros.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not like... Majority of the stuff that I'm seeing that's being shot is a tripod shot, or it's a super handheld shot where they're just walking and vlogging doing something. Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to blah, blah, blah. We're doing a shot driving by somewhere, right? Which is like, yeah, the shots would look better if you had a high quality camera, but does that kind of shot quality matter so much when the overall production isn't there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I love breaking it down and starting with a phone, because you point and shoot. And you get your story, and that's why you're learning. Let's cut out the shitty footage before I even shoot it.
Yes,
and you're learning to tell that
exactly
story.
Right. I'll literally, if I'm doing 15 takes, I probably delete 13 of them, like, and I'm only left with the last 2 takes. And like, it's literally, I'll do the take, and if it's 3 seconds, I'm like, I take the extra 5 seconds to delete the take before I go take my next take. Cause I'm like, I don't even want it in the phone so that I have to sift through later. It's like too many times I was like clicking on like 15 clips, and I was like, is this the right one? Is this the right one? And no, I should be the last one, but it all jumbled up in here when I moved it in the media pool, and I just had to keep it simple from the get-go, right?
That's yeah, man. Yeah. And then eventually you'll just get to that point where you're not even taking those takes, where you're like, oh, okay, this won't even fit in the video, so like I'm not even gonna shoot it. I'm not even gonna waste the time there. And that's why like I push planning so much. And like every single one of my YouTube videos is like the first thing I say is like organize or like plan or something like that, because every single shoot that I've done that for has always turned out better than the shoots that I haven't done that for.
I couldn't agree more. Even something as simple as like, oh, I'm going to go walk the dog, and on that 20-minute walk, I'm going to think about like, all right, I have to shoot this video. What do I need out of these shots? What shots am I going to be focusing on? What are the main things? And it's even just thinking about it beforehand, of knowing like, all right, I'm going to need 6 main shots. I need a pre-shot. I need an after. I need a little breakdown of what's going on. And then I need an outro.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
And that works. That side of the videography stuff is right parallel with the pre-pro side of music too. That's your, before you get into your studio, before you get into your actual shooting of the footage, that's your pre-production stuff to make sure you're ready. So when they're actually cameras rolling or the tape's recording, you're ready to rock and you've got your best foot forward.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And you know your content back to front. Yeah. Because you know what you're gonna say, you know what you're gonna do, you know how it's gonna flow, and you take out all the variables. Yeah. And you don't leave anything to chance.
Yeah, even the other day when I did a guitar review video, it was a brand new guitar I've never worked with before, a high-end one. I was like, I need to take a good 10 minutes and just do some research and stuff and figure out exactly everything that's in here so I don't misquote stuff. And then it was going through one page, and I went from this page to that page, and they had different information, and I was like, I got to really do my research now to dive deep in like 2 reputable sources, different information. So I was like, I can't misquote the pickups in this guitar. It's almost a $3,000 guitar. I'm going to look like an idiot if the first high-end guitar on my page, I'm misquoting something as simple as the pickups. So yeah, exactly.
And gear reviews are very straight like that. And gear reviews to me are like, oh dude, you got to get them just right, and you have to like add a certain amount of yourself in each one, but not too much, because like, gear reviews are coming, like people are mostly coming in cold. Not a lot of your own audience is going to be like, oh, I'm really stoked on this gear review, because they may or may not be shooting like how you like or doing what you're doing. So gear reviews are like a big, especially like entry level gear reviews are like, they better be to the point. When you're doing like a $3,000 guitar, I'm sure like that is way more specific, and like somebody who's been looking at that guitar will watch like 10,000 gear reviews. So like yours better be like really, 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 really on point, and have like your keywords down and get like very searched and all that kind of stuff. So good shit though. Yeah, I'm excited.
It's a lot of work, but good work.
And that's the thing, man. As an artist, you've become a content creator. So like, I personally think like a musician is not really going to succeed as far as they would if they didn't know at least a little bit about recording themselves at home. If they didn't know a little bit about telling a story and being personable online or posting shit. Like, it's your personality now, man. Like, that's kind of what it comes down to.
10 years ago, not even 10, we'll call it 6 years ago, if we had the capabilities of what we're doing right now, how much we could get done. I mean, you say that all the time, we should have been doing this when we were a band. But when if you really dive deep and stuff like that, the having this kind of setup here at home, the amount of videos I could be doing on like Instagram. Oh, we're writing this new tune. I post 30 seconds of a screaming part of a new song. People are stoked as shit. It gets, you know what I mean? It gets a bunch of views. It gets the hype going. There's so many different options if you have those little bit of technical capabilities and the hardware here at the house.
Yeah.
There's so many options, right? And there's lots of bands that are doing good stuff and lots of bands that are trying to do good stuff that don't quite have the capabilities, which is exactly what you want. You want them to start doing the content just in general, just to have it, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you start now, right? And you're going to be shit at it, but you're going to be way further along than somebody who's only been doing it the traditional route and then just decides like, you know, oh, like they've been hitting their head against a wall because they've been trying all these traditional ways to get noticed, and it's not working because they're just like, you know, they're just not that unique or just not that special or just you know. So really, it's just about finding the path of least resistance in a way, and content creation is like. It's just a key thing nowadays. Even if you don't love to do it, you kind of have to. As bad as it is,
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you'll find that you will love a way to do it though. Like there's people out there who are able to make that. Like they make the fact that they do shitty quality videos. They make that their thing. They're just like yeah, so what? I shot this in 360p. They're like, whatever. My audio's good because I'm teaching you audio stuff. So shut the fuck up.
Well, and then you got to think about it too. There's tons of people I see doing like that are like Facebook big, posting videos and stuff, and majority of those people are doing stuff off their phone.
Yeah.
Right. Most of it is just shot on a tripod or with their hand, and they're just doing whatever their TikTok thing or whatever that might be. So.
Well, viral videos are like the best.
Viral.
The best examples.
Just went viral.
They're the best examples, man. Like there's tons of them where they're just, you know, they're the worst quality, and that's what it takes you off guard, right? And that's why even like marketing is starting to do that. They're starting to shoot shit on phones and doing like a testimonial that looks like somebody just out here just. I really love this skincare product.
So let's come back around. So we started with what I was doing. What are you doing to keep busy?
Oh my God.
I assume some of the same, working on that content, right, bro?
Yeah. I'm trying to do a little educational kind of stuff. I feel like that's the best thing that I can do right now. I'd love to get into more of the vlogs and teach or not even teach, but just like document the kind of stuff that I'm doing here. I don't know. I feel like I'm sort of onto something, and once I had that mindset of like, yo, let's focus in on these music videos and make some like really awesome shit around that.
Yeah.
Since I've been doing that, I feel like I've gotten a lot more inquiries. I've gotten a lot more of people coming up to me and wanting to do that kind of stuff. So it's really what I love to do, and so for that I'm really happy.
Sick.
But yeah, during quarantine though, it's all about the content and creating that stuff.
Content and education.
That's
spreading
personally
the
what
knowledge.
I think. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's super key. I mean, how often do I come to you for knowledge? You know what I mean? Like I'd mentioned earlier, majority of what I've got set up here is only because, you know, I had you guiding me along the way and stuff like that, and figuring out exactly what I needed and what I could pull off.
Yeah.
What was most efficient for me. So I definitely see you as a knowledgeable person. That's kind of where that's my niche too, or maybe not even niche, but that's kind of where I'm coming at it is, I'm coming at it from more of like hey, look, I produce videos, yes, but I understand the artist, like the musician mentality. Like I'm totally there with that mentality, and I've been there. I know the struggle,
And I'm not talking to you as some film school student who learned how to work a camera and, you know, that kind of thing. I'm there as like, let's tell this thing, but like, let's be able to sell this as well. And, you know, give it some, you know, brand, some style, something like that. I don't know. And for that, I think it's like, it's kind of coming at it a little bit differently than, you know, most of what other people are doing, where they're just like, you know, oh, I usually create videos for businesses, but yeah, I guess I'll do your music video. It's kind of like a business, right? But it's, you know, there's that disconnect.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm
very much. Well, it's also diving deep into something that you've done very much so from that other side, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, musicians and stuff, and there's always going to be some bands that you I don't think we've quite experienced this firsthand, but I got to assume, as someone who might be coming in that's not quite a musician into like shooting a band music video, you don't quite know what you're getting into interacting with the band and what you can get out of every member and who's really trying to, you know what I mean? There's always going to be certain members that are trying to flourish a little more and be a little more on film, and that are going to give you a little more than what other members might give you. So coming from the band side, that's super helpful, of being able to just interact with certain people, knowing kind of which shots to get. I mean, obviously every band's, you know, the main guy the main vocalist or the main guitar player are going to be doing lots. You know, there's lots of drummers out there these days that have got some good chops, that have got their own flair to them and stuff like that too. So coming from the band side of stuff is very helpful, and just being able to bro down and interact, like the fact of like going to a shoot and just shooting the shit about gear for 15 minutes before you ever talk about doing anything video related and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just you have those personable things, and we know better than anybody what a shoot is like with a real bro band and stuff like that. And you've got to be able to interact and to get down like that, for it to be a super comfortable shoot and for everyone to get what they need, and for you to also be able to direct that shoot and kind of be that sense of authority and be able to keep everyone in line throughout the shoot as well. I mean, I'll be the first one to admit that we've maybe not been as professional as we I shouldn't say we, because you were always on top of your game, but you know, me and maybe a couple others maybe weren't as professional as we should have been all the time at some of these video shoots, and maybe not as quick on the ball, but we always had good. I mean, Mike was fantastic, right? And
I thought that too, especially when I found out like he's done music and stuff too. Like that was always it like lets your guard down a little bit, where you're just like, oh, okay, like this guy gets it, right? He's not just, you know, it's not a film, just a film school student and stuff. So like, I don't know. I personally think that that's cool. And you're right with the whole broing down. And I mean, most people can fake that they can bro down, and I get that. But I don't know. I just think it's kind of like the interesting perspective and things like getting your music video seen, because as great of a job as I can do on your music video, it's like you still have to get people to care about you. And unfortunately, like no matter how much traffic I can push personally because of like the creative thing that I've done with my filmmaking, like that doesn't matter to the people who are watching it, right? You know, they just want to see a good video. They want to see you having fun. They want to see, lots of things are like funniness in videos are huge and memorable, and you know, something that's epic and big and grandiose. Like music videos it's like a dream world, like a fantasy, right? So there's lots that you can do. There's just lots that you can do with it. But yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot, and like where's my like the differentiating factor, and just focusing on music videos is where I found it. So
Well, just the term in itself of a music video is a fantasy. You know what I mean? Like that. If you think about it
that's
that
what I
way,
said.
that's what you said, right?
Yep.
Music video is a fantasy. Yeah. If you just take that idea and then let your imagination run right away, just the word fantasy allows you to just right now. You're just like, what? Listen. All the options of cool things you can shoot now, and it doesn't have to be exactly completely brand new or unique. It can be a play off or a take of, you know. Immediately when I think of fantasy, the first thing that pops into my mind is Alice in Wonderland, and I'm not even a huge Alice in Wonderland fan, nor have I watched. I don't think I've even watched the original cartoon.
Mustard,
but just the idea of Alice in Wonderland, or what I saw for the Tim Burton version, was that encompassed fantasy for me. That was it in itself, of just ridiculous, crazy things that can happen in circumstances and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So that really, like, if you let that idea just kind of smolder a little bit and expand, you can go anywhere with a music video. And there's a lot of people that are looking at it straight down the pipe and doing the cookie cutter music video thing, but you can do anything and everything. And those ones that are more unique and stuff are always the ones that do better. I mean, I think we might have talked about this one before, but we've talked about like the Dancing with Paris one that was like a paintball paintball shoot in the woods, right? So little things like that. That's totally pretty cool. Take the Throne did that one where they had the dude from Structures play like a gladiator or something like that in the video. So that was cool. They had tons of VFX in there. A very unique video compared to everything else that was going on in the scene at the time. So that was pretty cool. And then, like, we've had tons of cool ideas of doing, like, you know, winter shoots of doing weird sliding down a hill and stuff. So, yeah. There's lots of good options. The video you just did for Cudbear was fantastic. That's in that same realm of, like, well, let's dip into the fantasy side of thing, and let's embrace the Cudbear aspect of it and incorporate that into the video of it. And
I love the idea of Alice in Wonderland, though. That really brought it all together, because that whole story is like, she's like normal and then falls asleep by that tree, and then all this shit happens, and then it just ends the same way it began. Just like you being the person watching the video, you watch the video, you get transported to this world, all this crazy shit's happening, and it doesn't make any sense. There's no plot, like there's no it doesn't have to follow a plot. It can, but like it doesn't have to. There's no continuity. It doesn't matter. It's a dream, right? And then you wake up, and at the end you've gained a little something from this world, because you were able to escape your life as it is, and you were able to exit with more knowledge, more like just more all around creativity and fantasy and mind expanding things by the end of it. So yeah. It's all about it being able to like engage in that experience. And every great story, has that, where it's like you can leave like you start in a space, you can leave that space, you learn something new, you take something back with you, and you bring it back home. And that's it. And you just bring it back up.
Bring it back home.
Yeah.
Bring it back home to me.
This is definitely a different type of podcast. Yeah, I know. Me too.
I need another drink, bro.
We've been shooting the shit, actually, man. It's been like almost an hour. It's good. Good stuff.
It's good. I got 42 minutes.
Yeah, let's
on
grab
mine.
a drink
Should we
before
grab a
we
quick
end it,
drink,
because I'm not ready to end it. Okay, 3, 2, 1.